Month of the Dragon, Rage and Enlightenment, character concept. I'm going to start with the backstory and then go over the build and mechanics. Skip to this time if that's what you're more interested in. I'll also add some chapter markers. Tillian is a young human boy from a small village who has always dreamt of being a knight. He had a quiet childhood with his younger brother and father. His father, who seemed to be a simple farmer, somehow had enough connections and money saved away for Tillian to afford to become a page for an up-and-coming young knight. Tillian is accompanied by several other fresh pages as they traveled to the other side of the continent, returning to their knight's home kingdom. Training along the way of their journey, they pick up several more prospects. However, the night before crossing the border, they're attacked by bandits. All the pages were either killed or knocked unconscious and kidnapped. When Tillian wakes up, he's locked in a cage in the middle of a large marketplace. He and several of the other boys are sold as slaves to an aristocrat, where Tillian survives long enough to become a gladiator. After learning everything he can about the blood and the sand of the arena, he has a chance encounter that will change his life forever. His younger brother spots him during a match. He's become a wealthy merchant since leaving home and buys Tillian his freedom. He explains that their father passed away, or went missing, whichever you prefer. So he left and managed to say the right things to the right people at the right time, and ended up in a position where he could make a whole lot of money. He was only in that part of town as he needed a special herb to cure his sick wife, for his brother had a family of his own now. He had his own peaceful, happy life. Something Tillian felt like he could never have. Nothing was the same. He had forgotten what it meant to relax. Peace felt cloudy, uneasy. This lifestyle was a false serenity, signifying the shameful, serendipitous second chance what he surely could not and should not deserve. His brother, sensing his anxiousness, recommends him to a monastery he often donates to. He and the head monk were acquainted through this or that, whatever you want to do, and he was sure he would take Tillian in. Once arriving there, the dragon-born monk sees great potential in Tillian. As their training continues, they realize that Tillian is a descendant of a dragon. A very angry chromatic dragon of your choice. I'm going to use red as an example moving forward. Tillian's rage and anger comes from his draconic heritage, but over time he starts learning how to control its power more and more, each strike blazing. Eventually, the monk sends Tillian on a journey for his final lesson.
千里の道も一歩から A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
He gives Tillian the challenge of traveling, seeing the world, helping people like he had always dreamed of. However, this was still a challenge. He sent Tillian with a berserker axe. When his emotions run high, he must be able to calm himself or the axe will take over his mind and encourage him to attack everyone around him. And that's the backstory! Now on to the build! This build doesn't come full circle until level 5, but if you start at level 4, it's still serviceable. 3 is possible, but it would be weird for a final lesson to be at level 3. However you determine what scores you use for your stats, put Dex as your highest, Con second, Strength or Wisdom third, in whatever order you want for Intelligence and Charisma. Take any proficiencies that fit how you want to play and the setting. Level 1. You don't have to play Human, of course, it's just generic enough to fill our purpose here. But you'll start as a Barbarian with Gladiator as your background. Barbarian, level 1, gives you Rage and Unarmored Defense with Constitution. Level 2, level up Barbarian again for Reckless Attack and Danger Sense, which is even better with your good Dex. Level 3, you'll likely take the rest of your levels of Monk, unless you really wanted a Barbarian archetype at some point. If so, maybe Path of the Totem? Reflavoring any choices to be Draconic themed rather than animals would be pretty cool. But with your level 1 in Monk, you get your Martial Arts and your Wisdom Unarmored Defense. Level 4, Key Points and Speed increase. Level 5, you finally get your Monk archetype. Take Way of the Ascendant Dragon. In the backstory, I say Red Dragon specifically, but the subclass lets you deal damage from any of the Chromatic Dragons at any time, with Acid being from Black or Copper Dragons, Cold from White or Silver, Fire from Red, Gold, or Brass, Lightning from Blue or Bronze, or Poison from Green. Now for the axe. It's a Berserker axe, which we're going to modify a little bit. We're keeping the curse aspect where you're unwilling to part with it, but you don't have disadvantage on using other weapons. We're also changing that the Berserk effect triggers anytime you take damage. Now, it only triggers when you start a rage, attack with the axe, or when you're in an emotional state. such as watching a party member be knocked unconscious or killed. It's still a wisdom save. You can keep it at 15 or bump it down to 10 so you can actually pass it sometimes. Alternatively, the DM could adjust it depending on how emotional you are. However, when you do eventually fail, you take the axe from your back, switch your strength and dex scores, and recklessly attack everything around you. If you weren't already raging, you are now. Either having the original way of losing the Berserker Curse, which you have no creatures within 60 feet of you, or repeating the wisdom save at the end of each of your turn. If your DM lets you start with feats, or if you pick a variant human, Gift of the Chromatic Dragon is very flavorful, especially if your DM, rightfully, allows unarmed strikes to be considered simple weapons. If you haven't used this feature before you go into your Berserk mode, you will use it as soon as possible. Use your ASIs to bump up Dex and Wisdom, buffing your punches and letting you pass that save more easily. If you want to eventually take Resilient for Wisdom to become proficient with Wisdom saves, that would probably be worth it too. Increasing your Wisdom is beneficial mechanically, and it's really flavorful as you learn to control your emotions better as time passes. Plus you'll start with Constitution for your unarmored defense, using your big body to take all the hits directly. But then you'll slowly start to care more about your well-being, trying to read your opponent to avoid their attacks. And if this idea just isn't quite your speed, play a Topaz Dragonborn Paladin. A necrotic paladin? That backstory writes itself. But it's time for the Month of the Dragon contest information. I'm declaring December as the Month of the Dragon, and to celebrate, this is the third of 4 dragon-themed shorts. Plus, I'm holding a contest. For my beautiful subscribers, if you like and comment on this video, you'll have 1 entry to win a digital or physical copy of Fizban's Treasury of Dragons. And for each dragon video you like and comment on, you'll receive another entry. The winner will be announced on January 1st. Link to the Dragon Month playlist in the description. The algorithm doesn't like me putting out long videos rather than shorts, so I won't be doing this too often. Thanks for watching this far. I love you. Have a beautiful time, and don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe for more content, and tell someone that you love them today. 3